My name is Andrew Mackay-Smith, and you are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. This is my conversation with Ash and James, two of the members of a band from Melbourne called Slow Talk. The reason for the conversation is to promote the band's brand new EP called New Vernacular. Let's have a listen to what the lads have to say. Here we go. All right, so lads, welcome to the show. New Vernacular. It's the name of your EP, which is due for release in late April. Now, I'm very fortunate to already have a copy, and I've got to tell you, I'm trying to describe it using more, let's say, broader epithets, but I can't say anything else except to say it's fucking superb. A very listenable brand of heavy metal. That's what I'm going to describe it as, and it sounds wonderful through the car speakers. It's actually one of my favourite releases so far this year, and I don't say those sort of things unless I mean it. But I'm at a bit of a loss to describe it for the listeners' benefit because there's so much going on. One of the key things that I heard, and James, this might be you here, was the Mars Volta sound, particularly through the vocal. But question to the both of you, how would you describe the sounds heard across the EP?
Look, I think we don't really try and lock down a sound, but we're always writing from a really emotive and narrative place, and then just exploring what we can do with with a bunch of guitars.
Okay. What about inspirations then? Who inspired you to create the sounds?
I guess our main one that we get a lot is Circa Survive. So they've been, I guess, the key part of our inspiration.
Yeah, if there's any band that we'd want to play with, or we'd say that we look up to, it's Circa Survive.
Yeah, that's interesting. I just had a chat to... Oh, gosh, is he... Yeah, Colin Frangichetto. Is that how you pronounce his surname? Sorry, I might be wrong there. But they're touring soon, so are you guys on that tour?
I wish.
Sadly, no.
Put us forward, please.
Yeah, okay. Rightio. And what are the lyrical themes throughout the EP?
I guess, throughout the EP, most of the lyrics are kind of internal dialogue on just, how you put it, they're quite often metaphors for just life events that I've been through. So the earlier tracks are about relationship stuff. The last two are about new experiences, and I try and represent those things in clever little ways, I guess.
Okay, rightio. How was the EP recorded then? Who did you decide to work with? Did you have a producer, or did you just have a go-to engineer and you guys produced it yourselves?
So we walked into the studio really well prepared, I like to think. So what you hear is pretty much what we had at our home studio. And then we recorded with a guy called Declan White, and he's a legend. It's really hard to get people to see your vision and not try and do their own thing and spin your tones into a completely different record. Declan respected exactly what we wanted, and he just helped us bring that to life, and we're really happy with him for that.
I was talking to a band yesterday who worked with him as well. The name escapes me at this point in time. Let me see if I can bring it up. Sorry, just quickly. Just going to my trusty Excel spreadsheet with all the bands that I've been talking to recently, and I've probably... is it Bury the Kings? I think he might have worked with Bury the Kings. I could be completely wrong. Or it might be Wind Waker, one of the two bands there. I'm sure he worked with them, but they had very positive things to say about him as well.
Yeah, it could be Wind Waker.
Yeah.
That one.
But the guy's a whiz. He can do a lot with not much, and it's funny because he's got all this gear and he'll just fiddle around with a few plugins, and it's already just sounds mind-blowing.
Okay. How did you find him? What was the process of going through people to work with? Did you have a list or, that sort of thing, and you just sort of went from the top, and hopefully Declan was your first choice? It sounds like as though he was, but how did you find Declan?
He opened the studio, last year he opened the studio, and he was just recording a few covers of some songs. He did 30-second snippets, and I 100% thought that this cover of From First to Last, was it From First to Last? No, it was, what's that Sonny Moore project? From First, yeah.
It was.
Yeah. He did a Make War cover, and I 100% thought that I was listening to the instrumental for that song. But then I went back and I played it against, the actual track on Spotify, and it was 10 times better. And I was just like, Ash, we need to record with this guy.
His mix destroyed it.
Yeah. What instruments does he play? Is he one of those guys that has a talent to play any instrument?
He's a drummer, and he plays guitar pretty well as well. he recorded the drums for us. Like, we had everything
Right.
written, and he played it to a T. It was amazing.
What about the guitar across the EP then? Who was responsible for that?
So that would be me.
Okay.
And our process for that is we record it all at home just because guitar is such a primary, I guess, writing tool for us. We want to make sure that before we go into the studio, it's all done, it's all ready to go. And that way, everything just kind of can wrap around it a bit.
Well, I'm
We recorded a few key parts, but like for a lot of it, it's all actually done at home.
Yeah, okay. Well, look, either way, I've got to congratulate you for the guitar playing because it's epic, okay? It's a wonderful mix of modern metal groove with some choice lead guitar breaks. I'm a bass player and guitarist, so I really do focus on the six-string and the way the four-string comes across on a recording. And what I found is the use of effects were particularly tasteful. You really knew when to add what effect at the right time in the song, which is quite an art. I mean, it takes people years to do that, but you guys seem to have done it on one of your first releases, so congratulations again for that. But you kind of have already answered part of my question that I was going to ask, but I'll put it to you again. How important is the sound of the guitar and the lead breaks and note placement to the music you make? Because it sounds as though a hell of a lot of effort has gone into that part of it.
Well, one of our biggest rules that we go by is that less can be more. So we aim to, I guess at times with our leads especially, we want to play less and just have these sparse dynamic moments. So when we do want to erupt, it's just that much larger and has that much more of an impact on you. So it's definitely very meticulously crafted by us, and it's something we put a lot of thought into.
When we first started together, we kind of like overplayed a bit. And it took us a few years to really like step back and develop that restraint. And now we actually find it like it takes a bit more musicianship from us to show that restraint. And we enjoy that and respect that a lot more now.
Okay, so you guys, if I'm not mistaken, you're brothers, is that right?
No,
You're not?
we get mistaken for brothers.
Look, my point was, I'm just looking at pictures of you guys on Facebook again, and God, you'd swear to God you were brothers.
We're both very attractive, aren't we? Like, the genes of
Modern day
travel to the family.
Well, you can swap passports, that's for sure. Okay. So the final point I make about the guitar playing is that I'm a massive fan of Paco de Lucia, that wonderful Spanish flamenco guitarist, and so that Spanish-sounding guitar on the cut "Golden" is my favourite moment across the EP. Possibly one of my favourite moments on any album released this year, EP or collection of songs released this year. So I love the way you've woven that into that cut.
Mate, you haven't heard the extended version. We had to cut that bad boy down.
Yeah.
Well,
that was about 3 times longer than that.
Well, if you're comfortable with it, I won't share it with anybody, but if you wanted to send me the MP3 of that for my own personal listening pleasure, I'd really appreciate that. Only if you're comfortable with it, of course.
Yeah, we can do that.
No, that'd be killer. Yeah, guys, honestly, you know what my view on this sort of stuff is? I mean, you're very talented fellas, man. Just go there. Just do it. I mean, I know you've got to condense things for playlists, Spotify, Apple Music, and all the rest of it, but yeah, I think with two fellas like yourself that can clearly articulate the creativity that's within you, just put it all out there, man, and I think you're going to get people really hooking into the sounds that you guys are creating in the future.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so talking about the future, what plans have you guys got? Are we talking about, I like to say, KISS-style world domination, or is it something a bit more closer to home?
Look, we're just taking it one step at a time, but we take this very seriously.
Yeah, I suppose at the moment we really want to milk the EP for what it's worth, and from there, I guess it is KISS-style domination.
We're all trying to like mouth to Ash. Mention the gig. We're playing a gig next month, May the 11th. The Curtain, supporting the Valiants.
Okay.
So that's a big one for us. That's our EP launch show.
Okay, wicked. And you guys are from Melbourne, I take it, are you?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Which bands do you typically look to play shows with down there?
We did a gig with Storm the Sky last year, so that's one of them.
Yeah.
Really good guys.
They're amazing. Like, when we first started, they were just, they gave us that. It was a really good show, that one. And yeah, the Belly Ends, and because I do a bit of music photography, so some of the guys look out for us, which is nice.
Okay, cool. Do you get to play Cherry Bar very often? Is that one of those venues that is open to the type of music you guys play?
No, we haven't played there yet, but we'd like to.
Yeah, I was down there for Download, actually, and the band that James Freud's son's in was playing. I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, good band, good sound, good venue. We've only got a few venues up here in Brisbane like that, and even less on the Gold Coast, on the Sunshine Coast where I'm from. So it's always really special and unique for me to go down to Melbourne and you can hit Cherry Bar, and I reckon my favourite bar anywhere in the world would have to be Heartbreaker. I love going in there and just chatting.
Cool place. We wrote ourselves off there the other day.
Yeah, I used to work for a company called, God, I'm so used to talking to overseas musicians that when I say a company called Telstra, you being Australian know exactly who Telstra is or what company Telstra is. I used to go down to Melbourne for conferences and customer visits all the time, and I've got to tell you, I used to sneak away to Heartbreaker more often than not. Very rock and roll. Yeah.
I've seen it when they, after the fit-out, changed. Because they did it up again, and it looks stunning.
Yeah, actually, I noticed on Facebook that they were advertising for bar staff. So, gosh, I mean, I'm 40, so I'm probably well beyond it. But, God, if I was 25, I'd probably quit whatever it is I'm doing and start working there. All right.
It's like pendant, swing them, and it's just, it's magical.
Yeah, it's just got a great vibe. You just don't have anything like it up here. And I don't think you could create it up here either. We've got far more of an outdoors lifestyle here. And we've got Fortitude Valley, and we've got Ocean Street and Maroochydore, and everybody knows what the Gold Coast is like if you want to go out at night. But we just don't have that rock thing, you know what I'm talking about? Like where you can sit down and have a beer and listen to AC/DC or Kiss, and all rock fans, when they have a few beers, that's the sort of stuff you want to listen to. You know?
I think Melbourne just got named music capital of the world as of a few days ago. So
I saw that. It's a massive honour to bestow upon a city, but I've got to say it's probably completely worth it. I mean, I haven't been to Austin, Texas, but I've been to New York, I've been to Los Angeles, and Melbourne's got it all going for it. And I was really pleased to see that your state government was actually looking at injecting more funds into the live music scene, which is going to help massively. I mean, it's just got to be injected in the right way, you know, so as though promoters don't lose so much money, and venue staff can cut through red tape more easy if they want to put on bands past certain times, that sort of thing.
Definitely be a good initiative, even for, bands starting out like us.
Yeah, I think how have you guys found starting out and making the right connections? You've obviously got in touch with Tim and the Collision Course team, but otherwise, what's the journey been like for you since you first formed?
Hasn't really been much of a journey in the public eye. It's very much just been behind closed doors, really perfecting our sound. But we thought that there was no point writing, the best EP that no one's ever heard of. So we figured it was only logical that we get external help, and that's where Tim came in.
Yeah, that point right there. I don't know how many people consider their music the work of a genius, but I think a lot do. But if you can't promote it and get it out to people, there's no point sticking it up on Spotify and Apple Music and nobody listening to it. You've got to have some promotion behind it and talking to all sorts of different people. So what's the promotional trail for the EP been like? Have you managed to talk to a lot of indie journo types like myself?
Yeah, we've had a few interviews, and it's been a really fun ride, to be honest. We were tossing up whether or not we were going to do this PR campaign, but we're so glad that we reached out for a bit of help, and it's helped us take it a bit more seriously as well. It all feels a bit more real when everyone's talking about it, asking questions, and it's really fun.
I like to think I've done a lot of interviews, as I say, and there's a band called The Omnific who are from The Omnific, get that out, from Melbourne, who two bass guitarists and a drummer. And there's no singing. There's a lot going on with their music. I reckon if you guys could pair together and do something of a regional run, obviously you'd have to get along and all that sort of stuff. But musically, my God, that'd be a hell of a double bill to see.
Hey man, let them know we're down.
Yeah, actually, their bassist plays in Ambit.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking that you're talking about those people, but I didn't recognise the name.
Yeah, absolutely monster musicians.
Yeah, guys, really nice guys too.
Yeah, totally. I was talking to, is it Toby? He's one of the bassists, I think. At the end of last year, I'd already submitted my year-end best albums of the year to the publications that I write for. I heard that album and I literally had to stop press and put that as number 2 behind the Living Colour album. I'm a bass player, okay, and I play 5-string bass and 4-string bass, and when I heard those guys what they were doing, I actually understood exactly what I felt they were trying to achieve, and I was just so glad that there was a band out there doing what they're doing, because it's not often you hear it, and they're the only band of their type, I think, from anywhere in the world doing it. So another prop to bands from Melbourne, and indeed Melbourne as a city, for producing wonderful music. Okay, lads, I'll wrap things up, but final question. If people want to get in touch with you, if they want to buy merch, and of course if they want to listen to your outstanding new EP, New Vernacular, how can they do that?
Merch is on the way, but we've got pre-orders available for our EP now, and should be out on the 27th April. But we'd love to see some people down at the show.
Yeah, well, look, I'll post the podcast audio, mate, and if you guys want to share it so that people can, put a voice to the music on the EP, mate, go ahead. Feel free to share away.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thanks for that.
No worries. Well, that's... My name is Andrew Mackay-Smith, and you are listening to the Scars and Guitars podcast. That was my conversation with Ash and James from the band Slow Talk. Really appreciate you listening.